Yeah. Yep, I know. Everybody's on now? All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to another Journey More Often podcast with and Tipsy Tagalongs, by the way. We are here promoting Bohemia Blue, the sparkling wine. And we're going to be sabering later on at 7 o'clock. Yeah, and all that weather you see in the background, ignore that because it's going to actually blow through before 7 o'clock. So that is the weather forecast, believe it or not, and will be totally cool. But I have with me, she is your title with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and throw out your name.
Okay, Kellen McCluskey, and I am the Donor Stewardship Coordinator for the Chesapeake Bay Foundation.
All right, hold on. Now you know it's a live. It's a live interview. Okay, I forgot to plug that one in. How do you know? I mean, it's like you could hear yourself, but you couldn't hear yourself in the microphone.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was like,
all right.
I'm being really mumbly.
Yeah, do that again. All right, go ahead and do that again. Introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Kellen McCluskey, and I am the Donor Stewardship Coordinator for the Chesapeake Bay Foundation.
Ooh, the Donor Stewardship Coordinator.
Yeah.
That it sounds like a lot of work, to be honest with you. Let's start with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation because I've known about it for a long time. It's been in existence for a while.
Since the 60s.
Yeah, I was going to say decades, and probably more than decades at this point. It's half a century plus, so that's pretty cool. And the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, they are responsible for helping to preserve the bay, I assume.
Yes.
So
that is the goal. Yep.
Their focus is to make sure that the bay stays as pristine as possible.
Correct.
Yeah.
It has not been over the last several decades, and we are working tirelessly on that.
To bring it back up to standard?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So, and what does that entail when you're working on that?
So we have a lot of different arms. We have education, we have restoration, we have litigation, and these are all different ways to address the problems that are coming in all different directions.
Yeah, I can guess what all three of those are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, education is don't throw your trash in the bay. But that's the simplistic.
And getting the next generation on board with that.
That's the simplistic viewpoint.
Yes.
Let's see. The second one was restoration,
Yes.
which means you're restoring.
Actively.
Yeah.
Planting oyster gardens.
Ooh,
yes.
and wetlands as well?
Wetlands.
Okay.
Coastline remediation. Actively getting in there and trying to reverse some of the damage.
Yeah, which is not always easy. Years ago, I was on the Upper Eastern Shore Tributary Strategy Team. So,
Okay.
and that was a lot. We discovered a lot as part of that process, which was kind of cool, because you're thinking about it and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. And then you're thinking, ooh, we can do this. And so there are a lot of options for that restoration.
So was that stormwater remediation?
It was everything.
Everything.
It was everything. Yeah, it was stormwater. It was working with the farmers in the area. Because what a lot of people don't realize with farmers is that it doesn't benefit them to over fertilize.
Right.
It just doesn't benefit them. It doesn't give them a bigger yield. If they hit the sweet spot, that's what's the key.
Absolutely.
So if they hit the sweet spot, all that fertilizer and all the nutrients are being uploaded into the plant itself. So
right. And let's give our farmer friends their due. A lot of the nitrogen that runs off of ag land comes from the air and settles on their farms and then runs off.
Right.
And so, we'd like the farmers to do their part, but of course governments need to do their part, and industry needs to do their part
Exactly.
also to minimize that nitrogen runoff.
And that's a really difficult thing, especially on the Eastern Shore, because you get a lot of that coming from like motor vehicles and stuff like that. So it is what it is kind of thing. We have regulations for motor vehicles, but there's still things that through the air.
Non-point source.
Non-point source. Yeah, the point source is easy. It's the easiest one to
Right.
like. Oh
It's
yeah,
the easy one to go after. Go close down that
Yeah.
pipeline or that sewage or whatever. But when it's everybody,
Yeah. You can't stop.
the alls of us.
Right. You
doing
can't.
it.
You can't tell the entirety of Washington D.C. and Baltimore to stop driving.
Right.
So you've got to
Or
figure
heating
out a
their
way through it.
houses, yada, yada.
Which is really cool because a lot of if you've never seen it, a lot of the farms have that stretch of grass in between.
Buffer.
But it's not just at the shore. Or at the end of the field. It's also through the field where the field comes down. It's like a little swale, if you will. They've created the swale and put like a 50-foot buffer in there in the middle of the field, which gathers a lot of that. And the grass looks really nice because, it's getting all nutrients and stuff like
Getting
that.
it back into the groundwater table
Exactly. And so
instead of running off into the bay. Yep.
Exactly. And so it's pretty cool the way that happens. And then, of course, there's the one that we really don't like to rely on very often is the litigation part, which that's when somebody doesn't do the right thing. Just saying.
Right. And, it's not the tool that we want to start with, but sometimes it's the tool that's necessary.
There are circumstances that warrant that, I would imagine. I mean, I've seen some things that probably could have gone a little bit better, and they ended up in the litigation phase.
And litigation also, that sort of also folds in with just working with governmental entities. A big topic that we're working on these days, it's around a fish called menhaden, which you may or may not have heard of. And
Yes.
they're a smaller fish in the bay, and they're sort of the bottom of the food pyramid, if you will.
Yeah.
And we've been working with other entities to try to make progress on the fact that we're losing our stocks of menhaden in sort of alarming rate.
Right.
And this is what
And they're not being fished out.
larger sport fish eat these fish. Raptors eat these fish. They had a study come out recently that osprey nests are failing. Chicks are starving in the nest for the lack of this specific fish. Yeah, it's alarming.
Okay.
But the good news is we're trying to make steps forward with this. There's a large fishery who I won't name on this podcast, but it has the overwhelming amount of, they're the ones who are fishing / overfishing this.
Too much volume.
Based in Virginia, or they fish in Virginia waters because Maryland has already sort of dealt with this. And the Virginia legislature took a pass on funding any research on this. But Governor Spanberger came back and put it after we had a bunch of conversations with her. Other entities had conversations with her. She put the funding for research on menhaden back in the Virginia bill.
Right.
So that was a big win.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And people don't realize the Chesapeake Bay stretches up pretty far, and the Susquehanna from Pennsylvania comes in and dumps into the dumps. Sorry, bad terminology. It comes into the northern section of the Chesapeake Bay.
Right. You think Maryland for Chesapeake Bay, but Pennsylvania and Virginia are both a giant part of that.
Yes, exactly. And then you've got some others. I think there's a little bit of Delaware that makes its way in there, but not much, just a little teeny bit.
I think there's
just
more New York State than Delaware.
Yeah. I believe that. Yeah, Delaware's got I think it's the southwest corner of Delaware where the Mason-Dixon line comes down and goes across. That there's
Some
like a
creek
few acres.
out,
There's a little prong there that comes through.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun. Anyway, so let's divert for a second and we'll get back to Chesapeake Bay Foundation. But let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah,
okay?
let's.
This is the whole reason that we're here at Bohemia Manor Winery and the farm and the winery. And we're here because we're celebrating Saber the Moment, okay? And you're here because Saber the Moment is benefiting the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we had a little talk about it before. What happened was the owners of the farm came and said, hey, we'd like to give back to the bay. We'd like to give back to the environment. And so what they did as a result of that was they created this bottle and said, hey, we're going to donate a portion of each bottle.
25 cents.
Yeah. So a portion of each bottle goes straight to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, which is
Absolutely.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, they sell a lot of wine throughout the course of the year. So this is going to be fun. And I have tasted this. I don't know if you have yet.
I haven't.
But
I'm excited to.
I have tasted it, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I'm a red fan.
Okay.
I'm a big, bold red fan, and this is still pretty good. So
I'm very excited.
very excited about that. And,
We're going to be sabering them later, too. Or
yeah, sabering. I did get a chance to, because I might be, I don't know if I'm going to be recording during the actual moment of sabering. But I did get a chance to saber a bottle a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you practiced.
Yeah, I did get practice. It's actually not that difficult, surprisingly. I think pretty much everybody, the first time they do it, they're apprehensive. Is this going to happen? Am I going to fail?
Right.
And, is the thing going to
Shatter everywhere.
Yeah. And, what happens is, to be honest with you, there's a lot of pressure inside the bottle. And once you hit the lip, once you hit that lip, it just flies off because of the pressure. And because you're hitting it at a spot where it was formed. So it's like kind of a line there,
That
and
is wild.
boom, done. And so we're doing that. We're trying to break the Guinness World Book of Records. We'll have somebody from the Guinness World Book of Records. They'll be here. I'm going to be talking to them next. But a portion of this goes to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. That's really, really cool. And you guys do all sorts of stuff for the environment, which is nice. I mean, it's good that it's so proactive. And your funding, whatever your funding goes in a big pot, and then it gets distributed based on the need of that year, I imagine, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's not like, we're dedicating all our money to oyster replenishment or to wetlands restoration or to, cleaning up the bay efforts. It goes everywhere.
Yes,
any given year.
The education is a
the
huge
education
part of it.
is massive.
Yeah, and that Menhaden factoid I gave you, that
Yeah.
wasn't something that we were really focused on, say, 5 years ago, but it's come up as maybe a little bit of a crisis point. So we're pivoting to that.
Yeah.
But
you can see the storm behind us. It's really rolling through.
quite something.
Yeah. It looks like we're going to get at least a little bit lucky, because hopefully the power won't go out while we're on.
Right.
But anyways,
So the oysters have been a really big win. That's a fun
Uh,
topic.
that's huge. As far as from my understanding, they've actually made a big recovery.
They are recovering, and it's very exciting. They're a keystone species. They're filtering the bay. We, in the next year or so, will be opening an oyster restoration center in Galesville, which is south of Annapolis. We're taking an old oyster packing plant, and that has
Repurposing the plant.
Repurposing
Oh my
the plant.
gosh, into something that
Yes,
that's
and
pretty
we're gonna
cool.
Be, we call it SOS, spat on shell.
Oh.
And we're setting oyster spat, which, if you've not heard of oyster spat, which a lot of people haven't, it's little tiny baby oysters, and they can be.
Are they cute?
They're almost microscopic.
Oh,
They're
so
like little grains of sand. But
they're cute, but you can't see them.
Yes.
until they grow up.
until they become all oystery, yes. And so the Oyster Restoration Center will have enormous tanks. We will be setting this spat onto shells and then getting the shells back into the bay so that they can be becoming new oyster reefs.
Okay, so it's a what do they call that? There's a name for it.
Regenerative.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So,
Yes.
but oysters now, they don't. They're mostly saltwater, right? Or are they brackish water?
They can do brackish too.
Okay, so they can't, but they can't. You can't go
But
too far up.
Yeah, you can't go too far up.
Yeah, so that for everybody,
Sadly.
the brackish water is where the fresh water meets the salt water inside the Chesapeake Bay, which is actually pretty far up,
Yeah.
depending on how much rainfall you get.
The rainfall
If
and the
it's a huge amount of
topography,
rainfall,
yeah.
then guess what? It moves. It moves down.
It does.
Because it's normally, from my understanding, it's normally just below the Bay Bridge.
Yeah, I'm a little out of my depth on that.
Sorry. Well, I'm just saying, yeah, it's all good. It's all good because, that's what but I know that it moves back and forth.
Yes.
Because I remember having conversations about
That's
that.
one
And
of the reasons the crabs move up and down. And
yeah, and that's how they determine it, because they do favor, a lot of those shellfish do favor the saltwater versus even the brackish. So you'll see them more sporadic as you go into the brackish water, and then once you get to, I don't know of any freshwater oysters, I guess, in the bay. No, I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, but when there's a drought, that line goes way up. I mean, it went up to I think it was Elk River one year.
Wow.
Which was huge, right? Everybody
Yeah.
was like, there's oysters up here? Because it was like nobody expected it, right?
Right.
And there was a banger year of oysters. It was just a beautiful thing.
And so that's been a lovely success story, showing, the oysters it was a disaster.
Right.
What was going on in the
Yeah.
70s and 80s with that. And
Oh, yeah, that was terrible.
when we all work together, band together, cooperate, we can do great things.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
accomplish big things that seem like overwhelming problems. It can be addressed.
So now the focus is going off of restoring the oyster population, more maintaining the oyster population.
There's still a lot of restoration to be done.
Okay,
We're
all right.
not, we're
So
not at, Captain Smith exactly, oyster
Okay.
levels yet. But we've seen the trough, and now we're going back up. So
Okay.
the good news is it's not getting worse. There's still a lot of road to go.
So is it going to get to the point where I can just like walk out and then just like grab a bunch of oysters?
You're going to be walking across reefs of oysters. all the way
Okay.
from
Yeah, I'm
Long
not
Island
doing
over
that.
to-
Not in bare feet anyway. That would be too much. But yeah, so you're setting up reefs and that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
all
And then
over.
now is any of that production for harvesting, or is it mostly just restoration?
Both.
I mean, obviously, if you create these reefs, you can't just go in and
Right, but
nobody's scuba diving
the
that, right?
water, we need to give the watermen their due. They need to make their living, and we want them to be able to do that. And so there are reefs that are open for oystering still.
Gotcha.
Obviously, you still go to a restaurant and get oysters, right? So
I do.
so
Don't hate me, please.
we want the watermen to succeed too.
Right.
So it's a matter of setting more reefs, letting them grow, letting them mature, so that they can be harvested and everybody can win.
Yeah, because it's all about being together in this, right? So
Absolutely.
And if it is food I mean, it's somewhat more of a delicacy now than it used to be. It used to be actual table food kind of thing.
Right, workman's food.
Yeah, but exactly.
Yes.
It went from because they couldn't get anything else, right? So they just got oysters,
Living
and
off the land, living off the
their
water.
food. And I do remember doing some what do you call it, clamming. I used to live in Lewis, Delaware. We used to clam,
Nice.
and that went away in the '60s. I think it was I don't remember exactly when it was. So don't judge me on that either. But it went away. You just couldn't do it anymore. They said, we got to stop.
It's too much.
And you could go out there with a clam rake and have a full cooler in like half an hour, 45 minutes.
My kids did that in the Corsica River.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, they like their little plastic buckets.
And they found some
would
clams.
Dig in, the little estuaries, get some clams. I think we were okay. I don't think we were harvesting too many for DNR or anything like that.
Is there a limit on personal harvesting?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. It's more commercial fisher.
So yeah, we'd send the kids out and They dig up a bunch of clams and
Yeah.
a bucket of them home.
See, a bucket.
Yeah, I think it makes some linguine and clams.
Ooh, oh, that does sound good, actually.
Right?
Yeah, that does sound good. Let's see. What else would you like to promote with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation?
Well, we have.
Because we have open time.
Do we?
We have an audience.
Hey, audience.
Well, actually, I was speaking of the cameras, but that we do actually have an audience in the room here. And this is, by the way, this is the upper part of the. This is the not the
We're in the upstairs of the restaurant.
yeah upstairs of the restaurant in the tower. So
Yeah.
if you want to know where we're at, that's where we're at. We're in the tower of the restaurant on the top floor of the restaurant, and this is where they have like bridal parties stuff. And,
okay.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. And there's a big room over there. Yeah, it's
Can't wait to check it out.
yeah. You'll have to. But yeah, I did
Very
move the
worth
furniture.
Visiting.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, you can actually book your wedding here, which I think there is one booked for this weekend. Yeah,
It's getting bright out.
yeah. See,
little bright.
see, I told you it was going to blow through, and we're gonna get that. All right, so
Well, and this may seem like a cop out, but we do have an amazing website. We have an exhaustive website, cbf.org. And
Okay.
you can.
you got that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? We've been around for a long
Three,
time.
yeah,
Wait, before the internet.
yeah, before the internet, these guys have been around. So they
right.
got cbf.org. I mean, that's like nuts if you
Right.
think about it.
Right. So we have internships, we have speaking opportunities, we have all of the education, restoration, litigation information on there. Anything you would want to know about what we're doing. We have a whole section of blogs if you want to have more information.
Right.
Press releases, you want to find out more about that Menhaden story I told you. We have videos on that. So it's a tremendously useful website.
Is there a place to donate on the website?
Of course.
Yeah, so there you go. You got to donate some money to the Chesapeake
100%.
Bay Foundation. These guys have been doing fantastic work. I've worked with them since the 90s. We had a little conversation about that. We did a restoration project back then, and they just do great work. And they're really, they're this combination of dreamy pragmatism. They understand that there's a real life that has to be addressed, but they also the goal is very, it's way out there, which is cool, which, the Menhaden thing, they discover something else and they're like, we've got to work to address this. So they have staff that actually do that and to figure out, okay, what's the best way to build up the Menhaden population so that the little chicks.
We have scientists, we have educators.
Yeah, the osprey
we have
chicks.
Lawyers, we have, we have the full arsenal of people working on all these problems.
So, and sometimes it requires a law. That's the litigation part too. Everybody thinks it's the bad person that did something, but the litigation part too is something that, they, because you have to lobby and you have to
get laws
present
passed. Laws altered.
And I don't know if nobody's familiar with how they actually write bills, but generally the representatives and the senators don't write a whole lot. They get their staff to talk to people from the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and they script it so that it actually works to
You get the experts in.
to perform the task that they're looking to perform. In other words, because you don't want something happening that's a side, casual or collateral damage, so to speak. You create this bill and all of a sudden there's collateral damage. And you're like, well, that's not what I intended.
Nobody wants that.
And nobody wants that. And collateral damage goes both directions. It can both benefit or be to the detriment of a foundation. And so you've got to make sure that every bill is properly worded so that there aren't these strange, weird loopholes that people, can take advantage of.
And those are the big picture things. It's great to try to do your own little bit, and everybody should, but at the end of the day, you can move mountains with.
Yeah, that's why donating helps, even like, $5-10 even, donating a little bit of money to these guys because, their sole focus is just making the Bay work.
To Bohemia Manor for taking this up.
Yeah,
And being
yeah.
partners with us. They're tremendous.
So these guys, I have talked to them a little bit myself. They're very proactive environment people, and you don't always get that.
Right.
You really don't.
Right.
I mean,
It's a
you know
genuine
that.
interest
I know
in the
that.
Bay. Yep.
But they do have a genuine interest in that, and it's kind of crazy because a lot of people think, oh, business is trying to take advantage,
marketing.
and they're just doing, and it is marketing. But the reality of it is, it's also helping the Bay. And so I've already had conversations about some of the things that they want to do on the site itself. And so they're looking at doing even more improvement. Now, you don't know what's going to end up happening because sometimes, you got to look at the site. You got to look at what's practical to build on the site. You got to look at, we were talking about that the other day. This site drains really, really well. That's why the grapes
Ah.
are, so having,
okay.
having a pond is a little bit more of a challenge because it's sandier soil.
Right.
And the water just goes straight through.
The whole peninsula.
Yeah.
Big drain.
Well, a little further south and it gets a little bit closer to the bay, it gets more clay, that kind of thing. But the whole thing is these guys are really, really interested in helping not only preserve the environment, but doing their part as well. So that's how this whole partnership got started with Chesapeake Bay Foundation. And I really do appreciate, hanging out, having a chance to talk to us because you get to see, later on, it's an hour and a half out. We're looking at doing Savor the Moment at 7:00. So that's going to be fun. I don't know. When are they going to start lining up? Yes, pretty soon. Pretty soon they're going to start lining up because you got to all be lined up and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Yeah, I was just talking to some folks off camera. 6:30. All right, 6:30. Oh, okay, 6:30. So you hear it live. It's 6:30.
Okay.
And I think that's probably because we just want to get it in and out to get the event inside the window of the weather, which
Right.
and it's looking better now. It's in back of us, so.
Yes.
And you can see where it's going to happen in back of us. So thank you very much for joining the podcast. We appreciate it. We love talking about the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. We're very, I've done a lot of pro work myself, and it's really important that we preserve as much of the environment as we can, especially in higher population centers, because you've got a lot of national parks out in the middle of the country, but when you've got higher population centers like the mid-Atlantic area, it's really difficult, because you've got to find the space, you've got to find, all the stars have to be aligned.
Right. There's a lot of us here making a lot of pollution.
It's a lot, and that's what. The minute you add humans, you have a vast potential for
more
pollution.
Humans, more pollution.
Yeah,
But, we're
and
here
that's the way it works.
Here to find solutions.
Yeah, all right.
First century solutions.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We're going to actually be back in a couple of minutes, so don't fret and don't go anywhere. But we're going to go live a second time, so keep your eyes open. We'll be going live soon, and in the meantime, enjoy life, journey more often. Thanks, everybody. We're good?
We
We're
are.
good. Okay, thank you very much.
That was
It wasn't too bad, right?
fun. Yeah.